Hey everyone, Prof Sales coming at you with a video, and today's video is going to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes I have made on eBay. I started thinking about this and decided that a video of this type might be beneficial to other resellers out there. Maybe you've made some of these mistakes, maybe you're still currently making them. In any case, I thought I would share with you what they were and how I have tried to overcome them. So the first mistake is not coming up with a good inventory system. This mistake, I think for eBay, might even be the biggest mistake, and let me tell you why. An inventory system keeps everything that you've bought organized, easy to find, easy to get your hands on. If you have a question about it, you can answer the question. Once you sell the item and you need to ship it, it's easy to get your hands on it and get it in the mail. I don't know that there's really anything more important than an inventory system for eBay, because a lot of you are going to be storing these items in your house, as I do. So your house becomes like a miniature warehouse. If you've worked in a warehouse before, especially one of any size, you know that not being able to find items or items are in the wrong place can lead to just incredible amounts of frustration. You lose productivity, and ultimately you lose sales and hurt your bottom line. So coming up with a good inventory system was the best decision I think I probably made. When I first started inventorying jeans, I had a table, literally a small table I got from IKEA. It was only maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. And on this table, it was basically supposed to be a coffee table, but I sat my jeans out in stacks. This worked great as long as I only had 8 or 10 stacks. As soon as I got any kind of inventory at all, this system was no longer workable. Not to mention the fact that reaching to the back of the table from the front of the table, because it was up against the wall, was difficult. So I didn't have really my space thought out. My inventory system was not able to grow very easily, and did not have my inventory accessible. Those are all critical mistakes you can make with your inventory system. Ultimately, it led to me creating an entirely different inventory system, but this was sort of a difficult road to go down, because I had to reconfigure everything, I had to relist everything, I had to come up with a whole other system and implement that. So, if you can figure out your inventory system beginning, and there's lots of great examples online. I've done one on my videos, I've done one on my inventory system as well. Do that from the beginning. Start with it. Start with a system that allows you to grow, that allows you to keep things organized, that allows you to easily access your items, and I think you'll find that it's really beneficial to your business. The second one, shipping options. This comes up a lot on eBay because, well, I guess the reason it really comes up is because there's a lot of confusion around shipping. So let me tell you my theory and the mistakes I made at the beginning. At the beginning, I wanted to offer people a lot of different shipping options. Priority mail, first class mail, parcel post, FedEx, UPS. I very quickly realized that for the most part, people don't care that much about shipping, because I'm selling jeans, mostly. Jeans are not an item that are traditionally mission critical that someone get right away. Still, at the same time, I want to make sure that my buyers get their items in a timely fashion. So I just went to all priority mail for jeans. For items under 13 ounces, I went to first class mail, because that was the limit. I think it's now since upped a little bit. And I simplified everything. Shipping options, you want to do what's cheap for your customer, because ultimately you are going to be eating the shipping cost if you're offering free shipping, which I highly recommend that you do on eBay. So come up with a system that allows you to offer free shipping, get the items to your customer in a reasonable amount of time, and also allows you to price into your price the cost of the shipping to you, so that you don't lose money on the shipping. So shipping options, definitely something to consider when you're on eBay. I call this next one photo secrets, for lack of a better term. I don't know that secrets is maybe the best word, but the reason I say that is because eBay is driven by photos. I'm a clothing reseller. I could argue that my entire success of my business depends on the type of photographs that I take. So when I say photo secrets, what I mean is I did not at first take the time to really learn what makes for a good photograph. I was photographing things on the floor. I was photographing things when they weren't really straightened out and not wrinkled. I was not getting my lighting correct. Sometimes I had sunlight, sometimes I had light from a light in the room. Ultimately, the photos were just bad. So I took the time to examine what other resellers were doing, the Rake and Profits, the Ronnies of Hearts Pickers of the world, big time clothing resellers. And I learned that coming up with a photo setup was necessary to be successful as a clothing reseller. And ultimately, I think it's necessary for anyone who sells on eBay. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. You don't have to go out and spend $1,000 to come up with this elaborate photo setup. However, you do need a designated area. You need good lights. I wouldn't recommend skimping on the lights. The lights are everything. You need an appropriate background for what it is you're shooting. And of course, you need a good camera. If you have an iPhone or another type of smartphone, you probably already have a great camera in that phone. But if you don't, then you should take the time to think about, well, what kind of camera is really going to give me the best kind of results? And also allow me to efficiently upload my photographs and edit them beforehand, upload them to eBay and get them on the site quickly. This will cut down your listing time as well as giving you quality photographs. So photo secrets, very important. I wouldn't call them really secrets, I guess, but it sounds good. So take the time to learn what makes for good photographs on eBay and how you can take your particular setup, your particular business, and make effective photograph decisions. Number 4, cluttered listings. What do I mean by this? I just recently saw a video from the Craigslist hunter, Pete, who talked about cluttered listings and how eBay listings, so much of their business is coming from mobile sales. Now, if you've shopped for eBay on a mobile device, you realize that there's a lot of things you can see and a lot of things you can't see that are different than if you do so on a PC. The reality is the world is moving towards mobile devices. In fact, it's moved towards them, and it's going to continue. So you do need to optimize your listings for mobile devices. And that means getting rid of a lot of the clutter. When I first started, I wanted to spend a lot of time working with third-party software like Optiva, for instance. This is not a knock on Optiva. It's a great piece of software. It can definitely help you in the right situation. However, Optiva has a lot of fluff in it. And when I say fluff, I mean a lot of templates, a lot of things, borders around your listings, a lot of ability to add extra shipping information, payment information. The reality is, just as Pete said in his video, you don't need to put all that stuff in your listing. People are busy. When they see your listing, the picture and the title is what's drawing them in. So after that, you need to give them enough information to make an informed buying decision, but not so much that they're overloaded. Using the word I, kind of a mistake. You're a business, so act as if you're more than one. Act professional. It's not a personal you to you. Talking about how you've been burned by people on eBay before, and listen, that's why you have the policies you do. No buyer wants to hear all of that nonsense. All they want to know is, what's your item? What's it look like? What's the condition? What's the price? And what are the shipping options? Anything beyond that, and refund options, anything beyond that is kind of fluff. So I like to use bullet points in my listings. I usually use about 6 bullet points that I found work really well for me and that I can do very quickly. Because I do them on a mobile device, on an iPad, I'm able to save certain keywords so that I'm able to just pull up one word in the saved word history and hit it, so I don't have to type as much. Obviously, copying and pasting is an option if you're on a PC or a tablet, for that matter. It can be as well. But take the time to think about your listing and decluttering it. You don't need to put information in there twice. Your return policies, your shipping policies, these are all covered in the sort of template that eBay provides you for those policies. There's no real reason to spend a lot of time and verbiage listing those again. And on a mobile listing, it's likely to not even show up. It's likely to just overwhelm the buyer and create a lot of extra clutter that's not going to show up on mobile devices anyway. So cluttered listings is number 4. The last one is maybe a little controversial, and I call this the shotgun approach. And what I mean by this is there's an idea in the reselling community that when you first start out, And really, even after that, you should be buying wide but not deep. What that means is buying a lot of different items, quote unquote, um, minimizing your risk by spreading your reselling investment dollars around so that you don't get too deep in any one item, so that you don't get burned if it doesn't sell well or you have an issue. I fundamentally disagree with that approach, and let me tell you why. I don't think that any of us can become expert enough about a wide range of items to really sell them effectively. And what I mean by that is, let's say that there's 100 different items in the world. Obviously there's more than that, but 100 different items in all different categories, and you decide to sell 50 of them. You need to become an expert or really good in all 50 of those items. And they're all 50 different. They're going to have 50 different markets, 50 different sets of information you're going to need to know about the item, where it comes from, how it's manufactured, what sort of sizes, colors, fits, whatever. It's just overload. I mean, we have a finite capacity in our brain to understand multiple items. So for me, the approach has been, I decided to focus on clothing and more specifically jeans. Now, obviously, there's a lot of variation within jeans. There are tons and tons of brands, just dozens and dozens of brands and all kinds of fits and colors. So there's a lot to learn just within jeans. Could I sell jeans and video games? Sure, nothing wrong with that. But video games is a whole different market than jeans. It's a whole different customer than jeans. It requires a different approach to selling. You're going to be doing more testing and figuring out condition of the games and the cases and the manuals that they come in. And I've sold some games, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting with new things. I just think if that's overall your approach, you're going to be taking an awful lot of time going to your sourcing locations and spending that time scanning, spending that time looking things up. When you do that on eBay, Amazon's a little bit easier because of the way their seller app is set up, but on eBay, that's going to take tremendous amounts of time. I've got to point out, I can walk in a store and I know the 15, 16, 17 brands that I buy, and I know not to even look at other ones. When I see them, I just pass right by them. So I can go through an entire, say, Goodwill, even if it's got several hundred jeans, in 30 minutes. And that's from time I hit the door to time I'm actually walking out the door. So I don't need to spend all this amount of time, and that's because I have specialized in one general area, jeans, men's and women's, not kids. So the shotgun approach, while it probably does minimize your risk somewhat, I don't think the reward is worth it. I think the amount of extra time and energy you're going to spend becoming a miniature expert in multiple fields, it's not going to be worth your time, in my opinion. It's also not even really doable. No one's an expert in everything. And of course you can look things up and see if what they're selling for. I'm not suggesting that. But to suggest that that's your focus, what I'd like to do is when I go in a thrift store, I go in and of course I'm looking at the clothes, specifically the jeans, but I'm also will take a quick run through the hard goods, for lack of a better term. I will see if there's anything new, anything that really pops out at me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in that area, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. Just if anything catches my eye. I'm not going to scan 500 books while I'm sitting there. I know people that do that. God bless them. More power to you. It would drive me nuts on some level, because with books, you really don't know unless you scan them. I mean, yes, there are textbooks and certain types of books that will sell really well, and you can narrow down your search a little bit, but it still just requires tremendous amounts of time. I would rather go in and see what's there in my areas, grab what I know is going to do well, and I'm out the door and I'm on to the next store. It's not right or wrong. I just think that the shotgun approach in general, especially for newer eBay sellers, which is really where I see the advice, hey, take the shotgun approach, buy a little bit of everything, try it. I disagree. Pick a few areas. If you don't want to stay in one area, pick 3, but become more educated about those areas. If you're going to go out and try to be a Target or a Walmart of reselling and sell a little bit of everything, because you go in those stores and they sell clothing, They sell automotive, they sell sporting goods, they sell electronics, they sell grocery, they sell health and beauty, they sell makeup. You can try that, but those businesses have massive quantities of capital to purchase items. They can make mistakes and get away with it. They've also got a track record and a history of doing that. And there are a lot of vendors that are going to work with them to give them good deals. You don't. You have finite resources. If your sourcing budget is $500 and you go spend $10 on 50 different items in 50 different categories, sure, you might have some winners, but you're going to have some losers as well. Why not spend, $100 on five categories and take the time to research those categories and know what it is you're looking for and find those and sell those. You can always branch out. But I think you should start a little bit narrower with your focus in terms of reselling and maybe stay away from that shotgun approach. It didn't work for me, and I just think for a lot of resellers it doesn't work for them either and overwhelms people. So those were the 5 mistakes that I made on eBay, and let me be clear, those are not the only 5 mistakes I've made on eBay. There are other mistakes I've made. I just think these 5, in some degree or fashion, I made all of them and they had a negative impact on my business. I try really hard to stay away from those now and move towards, understanding who I am as a reseller instead of making all these missteps that I know are not going to lead me to where I want to go. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you liked the video, please consider hitting that like button down below. Also leave me a comment and I will try to answer it. And subscribe if you like the channel and want to see more videos from Prof Sales. So until next time, this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.